This tutorial is on long division with polynomials. Long division with polynomials is not very much different from long division with regular numbers. And what I want to do is walk you through how to do that. Before we do it, however, I want to point out a few things that it's important that students understand. First, when we're talking about polynomials with long division, we are talking about taking a polynomial of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 terms and dividing it by another polynomial. That other polynomial could have 2 terms, like you see here, or it could be a 3-term or even a 4 or 5-term polynomial. So when we're talking about polynomial long division or any kind of division with polynomials, we are talking about taking a multi-term polynomial and dividing it by another multi-term polynomial. Additionally, you'll see that polynomials can be written as fractions. And in this case, we're saying the same thing. We're saying to take the number of the polynomial in the denominator, and we're going to divide that into the polynomial in the numerator. Or another way of saying it is take the polynomial in the numerator and divide it by the polynomial in the denominator. So these two figures mean exactly the same thing. Finally, when we are dividing, we can write it as a long division problem, where you have your long division symbol, as you see here. And inside of this symbol is your product, or the thing that you are dividing. And on the outside is your divisor, the 2x plus 1. That's what was in the denominator, or what we're dividing by. So let's take a look at how we would do the actual division. So we're going to take the polynomial 2x cubed plus 9x squared plus 14x plus 5. And we are going to divide that by 2x plus 1. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to look at our divisor, and we're going to ask ourselves, how many times can I divide 2x plus 1 into 2x cubed plus 9x squared? Now that seems like a very difficult task. But what if instead we asked, what do we multiply 2x times in order to get 2x cubed? And if we multiply 2x times x squared, we can get 2x cubed. So I write my quotient part, x squared, up on the top of the bar, the division bar. And now I'm going to multiply x squared times 2x. And when I do, I get 2x cubed. And I have to also multiply the x squared times the 1. So when we do that, we just get x squared. Now remember, in long division, we always subtract the bottom row from the top row. So that's what we're going to do here. So we subtract, and we say 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is equal to 0. And 9x squared minus x squared is equal to 8x squared. Now in long division, we also then bring down the next place. So here we're going to bring down the next term. So we bring down 14x. Now we're going to go back to our 2x, and we're going to ask ourselves, what do we multiply times 2x to give us 8x squared? What would you multiply by? I hope you said you would multiply by 4x. So I'm going to write the term 4x in the quotient, and now I'm going to multiply. I multiply my 4x times both terms in my divisor. So 4x times 2x is 8x squared. And 4x times 1 is 4x. Now remember, I have to subtract. So I'm going to change both of my signs to show that I'm subtracting. And when I subtract 8x squared minus 8x squared, I get 0. And 14x minus 4x gives me 10x. And what do you do next? You bring down the next term. So now I have 10x plus 5. I go back again to my 2x, and I ask, what do I multiply 2x times to get 10x? I hope you said that you multiply by 5. So we're going to add the term 5 to the divisor and then multiply. Sorry, we added it to the quotient. We're going to multiply it by our divisor. So 5 times 2x is 10x. And 5 times 1 is 5. Again, we are going to subtract. And when we do, we get a remainder of 0. What does this mean? Well, if our remainder is 0, it means that our divisor, 2x plus 1, is a factor of our problem, of our polynomial. It also means that our quotient, x squared plus 4x plus 5, is a factor of our polynomial. Now, all good mathematicians check their work. So let's do a quick check. We check division by multiplying. So let's multiply x squared plus 4x plus 5, our quotient, times 2x plus 1, our divisor. When I multiply a trinomial times a binomial, I like to do it vertically instead of horizontally. So I'm going to multiply 1 times 5 and get a positive 5, and 1 times 4x and get a positive 4x, and 1 times x squared, which is a positive x squared. Then I multiply 2x times 5 and get a positive 10x, multiply 2x times 4x and get a positive 8x squared, and multiply 2x times x squared and get a positive 2x cubed. Now, when I combine like terms, I get 2x cubed plus 9x squared, x squared plus 8x squared, plus 14x, 4x plus 10x, plus 5. And that is what I started with. 2x cubed plus 9x squared plus 14x plus 5. So I know that I did the division correctly. This would be a good time to pause and go back over what we did. Try another example. What happens when you divide and your divisor is not a factor of a polynomial? If you think about it, you might think that you have a remainder, and that is true. So let's see if our divisor x minus 1 is a factor of our polynomial 9x squared minus 21x minus 20. So we're going to divide. Remember when we do long division, we write our x minus 1 on the outside, and we write our polynomial on the inside of our long division symbol. So now, remember what we do. We ask ourselves, what do we multiply x times to get 9x squared? Did you say you multiply by 9x? You would be right. So we write 9x in our quotient spot. And now we multiply 9x times our divisor. So that means we multiply 9x times x, and you get 9x squared. And we multiply 9x times negative 1, which gives us negative 9x. Now, remember that we're supposed to subtract. When we do this, we have 9x squared minus 9x squared. That gives us 0. Then we have negative 21x minus negative 9x. That really means that we're taking negative 21x and we're adding 9x to that. What happens when you do that? Did you get negative 12x? Now, remember the next step is to bring down the next term in the polynomial. So now we have negative 12x minus 20, and we're going to divide x minus 1 into that. So we go back and we say, what do we multiply x times to get negative 12x? We multiply by negative 12. So we write the term negative 12 in our quotient, and we multiply negative 12 times our divisor. Negative 12 times x is negative 12x, and negative 12 times negative 1 is positive 12. Remember that a negative times a negative is a positive. But we're also subtracting, which means that if we subtract a negative, we add a positive. And if we add a positive, we subtract. We're subtracting. Now we have negative 12x plus 12x. That is 0. And negative 20 plus negative 12, which is negative 32. I don't have any more terms to bring down. So negative 32 is my remainder. What exactly does that mean? It means that x minus 1, our divisor, is not a factor of 9x squared minus 21x minus 20. It also means that 9x minus 12 is not a factor. However, I can still check my work because I can multiply x minus 1 times 9x minus 12 and then subtract 32 from that. This is what 9x squared minus 21x minus 20 equals, and we'll try it. When I multiply x times 9x, I get 9x squared. And when I multiply x times negative 12, I get negative 12x. When I multiply negative 1 times 9x, I get negative 9x. And when I multiply negative 1 times negative 12, I get a positive 12. Don't forget, we also had negative 32. Now, I want to simplify this because I have some common terms. Nine x squared doesn't have another common term, so it's just 9x squared. But negative 12x minus 9x, those are common terms. Negative 12 minus 9 is negative 21. So I have negative 21x. And a positive 12 plus a negative 32 is negative 20. You can see that I did get the answer I started with. Please take the time to pause and re-watch the parts of this tutorial that you don't understand.